Matthew Steinecke, he is at SLVA as well, which is our virtual academy, as well as at Lincoln. The secondary high school, both high schools actually, both have an EL specialist as well, and her name is Ann Albright, all who kind of support a little bit of our English learners and some of world language areas as well. And as I introduced myself, I'm Doris Castillo, the Assistant Director of Teaching, Learning, and Educational Equity. So these are kind of the people that if you need to contact us about any of the things we're talking about and you need a direct line, this is who we are, this is how you can find us, okay? All right, and with that, I'll toss over to Mr. Fall, who will kind of get us more into the content for world languages.
Sure. So just kind of briefly going over the sort of the broad big picture of world languages. Um, and in the World Language Department, we follow the California World Language Standards, which were adopted in 2019 and focus around three primary areas. The communication, of course, right? Being able to talk to another person, interpretive, being able to understand information, interpersonal, being able to talk to other people, and presentational, being able to sort of make presentations and present your information for other people to understand. Cultures, right? We talk a lot about cultures, about understanding products, practices, perspectives of the target cultures that our students are studying. And then making connections across different curriculums and across sort of interdisciplinary connections with other subject areas. And those are sort of the standards that we ground ourselves in as world language teachers. We can move to the next slide where we have the more information about the California World Language Standards, where you can see the students advance through different proficiency levels. Students who come in with no background in the language start off in the novice level, and then they move through the intermediate level. Really, the goal being sort of students who reach sort of the AP level, which is the highest level that we have, reach maybe the high intermediate or low advanced stage in high school. Now we can move on. So do you want, Mary said, do you want to take this part or do you want me to do the middle school stuff?
You can take it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the middle school slide. So our secondary language pathways begin in our middle schools. We have Spanish 1, sort of regular Spanish 1 for non-native speakers, which is divided into 1A and 1B, which is 2 years. That is equivalent to 1 year of high school Spanish. So students who take 1A and 1B in the middle school level are eligible to go right into Spanish 2 when they get to 9th grade in the high school. And that is at both of our middle schools, both at Bancroft and at John Muir. We also have a Spanish speakers class. Again, 1A, 1B, same idea, being that students can take two years in middle school and it's equivalent to 1 year of high school, and that is at Bancroft. And we have a Mandarin, a very new Mandarin program that we just started last year, which is again 1A, 1B, that is at John Muir. And concurrently to that, I'll also just quickly mention that this year we now have the DLI, the dual language immersion in Spanish, which began at the elementary school. And those students are now at Bancroft Middle School. And that class is a little bit different. It's not quite in the world language track. That is an SLA or Spanish language arts class for those students who are in that pathway, or also for newcomer students who are new to the country. And so other than that, it's not really possible to enter that pathway. The three at the top are the three possible pathways for most students. And now I'll turn it over to Maritza, who will talk about the Spanish pathways, Spanish pathway at San Leandro High School.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, so I'm going to start explaining the first pathway or the only pathway for the Spanish for non-native speakers. So when the students are at middle school, they're offered Spanish 1A and Spanish 1B. So once they pass this class and they get to 9th grade, they can take a Spanish 2 by teacher's recommendation. Or they can, at 9th grade, they can just take regular Spanish 1. Once they get to 10th grade and they pass the Spanish 2 class, they have 2 options. They can take a regular Spanish 3 or a Spanish 3 for medical. And those students that took in 9th grade Spanish 1, they move on to Spanish 2 during 10th grade. Those students, no, can you please go
Sorry.
back?
Sorry.
It's kind of long. Okay, so when these students, okay, no, the 2 slides before, please, the non-native speakers.
Sorry, I was responding to questions in the chat. so Okay, is that right now?
No, one before? Yeah, that one.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So when the students get to 11th grade, those students who took a Spanish 3 and a Spanish 3 medical, they have the option in 11th grade to take AP Spanish, which is the most advanced class at San Leandro High School in the World Language Department. And the requirements for this course are comparable to a college reading, composition, and conversation course. And those students that took in 10th grade at Spanish 2, they move on to Spanish 3 in 11th grade. And finally, those that take Spanish 3, regular Spanish 3 in 11th grade, when they are seniors, they can take the most advanced class Spanish, AP Spanish. Next slide, please. Okay, now there are 2 pathways for the Spanish speakers. So when they are in middle school, they can take a class for Spanish speakers, and at Bancroft, it's only available Spanish for Spanish speakers 1A and 1B. So when they get to 9th grade, they can take Spanish for Spanish speakers 2, if by teacher, 2 options could be by teacher's recommendation or if they pass a placement test. Once they finish their class, Spanish for Spanish speakers 2, in 10th grade, they have 3 options. They can take the level 3 for Spanish speakers, or they can take a Spanish 3 for medical or AP, which is the most advanced class. And when they get to 11th grade, if they took a Spanish for Spanish speakers 3 and a Spanish 3 for medical, they have the option to take AP Spanish. Next slide, please. Thank you. The other pathway is in the 9th graders, they can take Spanish for Spanish speakers 1, and then the sequence 10th grade, Spanish for Spanish speakers 2. Once they get to 11th grade, they have again 3 options: Spanish for Spanish speakers 3, Spanish 3 for medical, or AP Spanish. Or for those who didn't take AP Spanish in 11th grade, I'm talking about those who took Spanish for Spanish speakers 3 and Spanish 3 for medical, they end up taking in senior year AP Spanish. And we really encourage the students to take this class because there are many advantages. They can, their GPAs can improve, and not only that, but they can save like 1 semester at a college course level. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maritza. So I'll take over again to talk about the Mandarin pathway. Just like for Spanish, we have a non-native pathway and a native pathway for native speakers. For our non-native students who come in with either a little bit of background or no background, if they are at John Muir Middle School, if they are at John Muir Middle School, they can choose to take the 1A and 1B class, and then go right into Mandarin 2 in 9th grade. Otherwise, the vast majority of our students start in Mandarin 1 in 9th grade. They take Mandarin 2 and then Mandarin 3, and then Mandarin 4. There is also an AP Chinese class that we have that is very challenging. Like Senor Perez said, AP is the most advanced class that we offer at San Leandro High School, and so and it is a college level class, and so in Chinese and Mandarin it is very difficult, especially for students who don't have a background prior to coming to San Leandro High School, and so students who take that Mandarin 1 class in 9th grade have to sort of skip a level, and if they want to take the AP class before they graduate, and that can involve some summer work or some independent study, things like that. But we that is an option for some students. And so yeah, so students will have the option to go forward and either reach Mandarin 4 or AP by the time they graduate. And then we also have native speaker pathway on the next slide. Thank you. For the students who have a really strong background in Mandarin, we offer a Mandarin for Chinese speakers sequence of 2 classes, Mandarin for Chinese speakers 1 and 2, which also lead into the AP Chinese class. And the AP Chinese class is, again, still challenging even for our students who come in with a background in Mandarin. It can still be a challenging class. It is also important to note for students who come in, especially who are maybe recently arrived, moved from China, and their English is not as strong, maybe they're English learners. The AP Chinese exam does have a lot of English in it. And so we find that sometimes our English learners who are native fluent in Mandarin struggle with the English on that exam as well. And so the Mandarin for Chinese speakers class gives them some time to practice their English in their ELD classes before taking on the challenge of the AP Chinese class. And then our third final, but certainly not the least most important language that we offer at San Leandro High School is French, which also has a pathway because we do not offer any middle school classes, unfortunately, in French, and because we have very few native speakers of French, the French pathway is very simple. Almost all of our students start in French 1 in 9th grade, and then they take French 2, French 3, and just like the other languages, the culminating class, the final class of that pathway is AP French, which students can take in their senior year if they so desire. In terms, am I doing this? You're gonna do this. Yeah. I'll pass it over back to Doris to explain this part.
I got it. Sorry, I was managing some translation stuff on the chat. So what does this mean for our college readiness, right? So there are 2 years required for university credit. We really recommend 3 years. That's what the colleges like to see. So that's something that you just need to know. So 2 years are required. It's what we'd like the students to take. And but like I said, colleges really like to see 3, 4, even better. That would be great. And there is 4 for what I'm about to share with you, which is the State Seal of Biliteracy, which is an award that seniors can earn. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that next. And then we'll have some questions, time for questions, of course. Okay, see here. All right, so what is the Seal of Biliteracy? So the California state has really highlighted the idea of multilingualism. And so they really want to foster all of our youth learning a second language or a third, if that's the case for them. And so the Seal of Biliteracy is a seal that is affixed on their diploma as a senior, and it shows mastery of a second language. It shows strong communication skills and a little bit more prepared for global economies. And anyone who has taken and meets the requirement, who's taken courses 4 years of a language or pass an AP exam, can qualify. And we're going to go through how it is that you qualify for the seal as a senior, right? So what you need to do first is it's a bilingual seal. So first you need to make sure that you are strong in your English. And the way we find that out is through a couple of ways. So you either need to have above a 3.0 in your English coursework, in an average GPA all 4 years. So let's say you got an A and then a C, it'll still average out to a B. But you need to have an average 3.0 as you graduate to get the seal. And if you don't have that, then there are other ways. The California assessment, the ELA assessment that 11th grade takes, you also could have a score of Met Standard, which I think is a 3 on that assessment. That qualifies too. You can take the AP exam. You saw that all 3 languages offer AP French, Spanish, and Mandarin. So you can take it via that route. We are not an international baccalaureate type of school or program, but if you came from one, that would be accepted as well. And if you are taking the SAT and you get above a 480 in the writing section, that is also one of the things that could be accepted within the first criteria. Okay. So again, it's multilingual. So then you have to show the second criteria, which is showing the second language proficiency. And so that would be if you take 4 courses of a language at the high school and you have, again, an average of a 3.0 as a senior, then you qualify. If you take the AP exam and you get above a 4, then you qualify. And so you also can take something that's called the ACTFL exam. So we offer 3 languages. We're experimenting now with adding a couple more. Last year, we added Vietnamese and offered that as an option. So, it's an AP type of exam, a little bit different, but shows that you have proficiency in a second language. Okay. And then if you are an English learner, if you happen to come to this country with another language and you are learning English as a second language, there is some proficiency extra criteria that you need to reach. And that is to make sure that you obtain a 3 in the oral part of that section of the test. Okay. And that's only for English learners. Those are the only people that take that part of the test. Okay. And that is the seal of biliteracy as a senior that you get on your diploma. So we try to really create a pathway for students to get there. So at the middle school, we offer 2 pathways to the seal of biliteracy, again, promoting this idea of multilingualism. And so we have one which is called the Home Language Development Recognition Award. And this award goes to students who speak any language at home in addition to English. And it's a process in which they can demonstrate that they're practicing their home language. And there's a whole application, there's opportunities for everyone. And Sibel Camberos, who I mentioned earlier, is there to kind of help along in that process. We are developing a biliteracy attainment award. And this is because, as Mr. Fall mentioned, we do have a dual language immersion program, and it has reached the middle school level. And so we are offering what's called the biliteracy attainment award. Now, this one is different than the home language recognition because this one actually has to prove high levels of biliteracy, meaning in Spanish and in English. So there will be things like an essay, an exam to show proficiency in oral language in both English and Spanish. And that is in its development currently. And those are awarded in 8th grade at their promotion assembly with these little ribbons that they wear. Okay, so Mr. Fall, wrap us up and then we'll stop for questions.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so in San Leandro, we really do believe that anyone can learn another language. We really have done, I think that the district and San Leandro High School have really done a lot to promote bilingualism and multilingualism and the importance of learning another language, whether it's a language that is your heritage or home language, or a language of a different culture and different people who are not necessarily what you grew up with. We believe that all of that is important and that anyone can do it. And so we're really excited to have more and more students signing up to learn new languages.
Oh, I wanted to mention something.
Yeah,
Is that in our department, we teach these languages like in context in a fun way. We do games, the students dance, we talk about the foods, and actually the students bring foods. We do lots of cultural activities. And we encourage the students to take advanced classes because so they can get like a good GPA, and they can get easy admissions at colleges or universities. And also I wanted to mention that I am in charge of the placement test. So if you have any questions about the placement test, my contact information is in the first slide, I think. I'm gonna be coming to the middle schools in the coming weeks. I'm gonna be there testing the students. Thank you.
Lastly, a little plug for an outstanding event that we do every year at San Leandro High School, which is the ELD and World Languages Talent Showcase, where I team up with Ms. Wong, Lisa Wong, who teaches ELD, and we invite students to perform in different languages and with performances representing different cultures. We've had students perform in Spanish and Mandarin and French and Vietnamese and Tagalog and a whole host of other languages. And we have done it 4 times now, and we are really excited to be hosting a 5th year this year. So if you have students in the high school and they have some talent, they can sing, they can dance, they have something that involves another language or another culture. Outside of sort of the mainstream American culture, we'd love to have them perform, and anyone is welcome to come see the show. It's going to be on March 21st.
All right, well, we're going to
Okay.
go ahead and open up the floor for any questions or comments that you would like to make now. There was a question on the chat that I just kind of want to mention. If you have a senior taking the AP language test as a senior, it's possible that a score doesn't get posted until after graduation. So that's what's tricky about the state seal of biliteracy. The state has it a little bit off from the College Board. So sometimes it gets a little funny. So if in fact your child does get a score and he has all the other things, the seal is still waiting for him at the registrar's office at the high school. So we do have some students who are more, they're like candidates to the seal, but they haven't earned it yet because we haven't gotten their AP scores in yet.
American Sign Language is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is still offered as a what do we call it? Is it concurrent enrollment? Or I forget the terminology. It's an after school class. The after school class that is through Chabot College. That's not through us in the World Languages Department, but is it sort of a separate thing. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Nope, that's good. There is another question that says, how do middle schoolers get connected to the beginning language classes? I think, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think when students are in 6th grade and they have the opportunity to sign up for their 7th grade classes, you get to choose an elective. And I don't know exactly. I think that's the counselors. So I would say the counselors. I know the counselors go into the 7th grade classes to talk to the students about choosing their elective class. And so that would be a time to talk to the students can talk to the counselor, or as a parent, you can reach out to your child's counselor and help them and indicate the interest in that. Okay. I saw a question. Is there any guidance for students to choose their second language? We don't really have anything, any sort of structure for helping students make a choice. I would suggest, talk to friends, talk to other folks who have taken the classes before. There's a lot of students who have taken Spanish, French, or Mandarin. And all the kids have an opinion on that. So I'm sure you can ask other students. We don't really have, you can also talk to, your counselors. You can come talk to one of us. As the language teachers, we're always happy to talk about our classes and about the different languages. And so those are a few different resources you might be able to turn to.
Also, something that I would like to add is that parents, you're welcome to come to the open house next week on Thursday. This is a really great opportunity to see what we do in our department. and to get to experience, all the fun and activities that we do so that students can improve and be proficient in different languages.
Yes, thank you. That's a great reminder. Next Thursday, the SLHS open house. The language teachers are all going to be in the cafeteria on the main campus with music and all of our student work. So yeah, if you can come on by and see what all the fun is about. I have 2 students and one will be entering 6th grade soon. Would he be eligible to go to John Muir if he's interested in Mandarin? That is not a question I can answer.
Yes, you'd have to turn in an intra-district transfer for him to go to Bancroft if his into Muir if his home school is Bancroft. You have to do that first, and then follow the following steps. Mandarin is only at John Muir right now.
One question, is Mandarin offered in the, I forgot, at John Muir?
Yeah, we currently have a class of Mandarin 1A, 1B
Okay,
at John Muir.
thank you.
We really want to encourage families to encourage kids to, really think about world language. We are in a state in the world that the global economy is closing, right? We're kind of smaller than we think. And so it is a really big skill to have out there. We know that colleges really look for that, as do employers. So being able to give the gift of biliteracy and multilingualism to our students is something we really, really value and encourage you to encourage your children to kind of stick with it because it is difficult, right? If you are learning a language, and it does take, quite a bit of years to master it, right? 5 to 7 years is what we say for academic language. And so when you get older, it goes fast paced, but we really encourage them to continue on. There's so many benefits to having a bilingual brain and what you're able to exercise in the brain when you're multilingual. I mean, it's connected to, lower cases of Alzheimer's even. And so there's a lot of research on the benefits of being a multilingual scholar. So we do encourage, aside from our love of languages.
And I would add to that too, just really encouraging parents of middle school students to think about and encourage your students to think about signing up for Spanish or Mandarin if they're interested in one of those 2 languages as an elective at the middle schools, because it really does give you a leg up when you get to high school to have that started early, in terms of opening up different opportunities, especially if you want to go to the AP level, or just kind of getting some of that experience out of the way, whether you want to just kind of get the requirements done, you can get them done earlier in high school, or if you want to, learn more and get more advanced, it gives you a leg up in high school. By high school, how many sections of first year Mandarin are they? Do they fill up fast? There is usually some space. This year, it depends on the year. This year we have 3 classes of Mandarin 1, and there is a little bit of space in there. Do middle school students have the option of doing more than one elective course? Middle school students, unfortunately, are usually limited to just one elective class. Unfortunately, their schedule is pretty packed, and they have a 6-period day, and I think the one elective is all they're allowed, which does make it a difficult choice, what elective to choose. And some of the electives are maybe less academic, but I think learning a language does have a lot of benefits for that slot. So I'll say you can see here on this slide. So first, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your commitment to languages and language learning. I'm really excited that we're able to have this opportunity to talk directly to parents about and students about the importance of languages and sort of what options there are in our district. So thank you for taking the time out of your evening. We'll stick around, of course, for more questions. I did want to point out my contact information is here. And I am the World Languages Department Chair at the high school, San Leandro High School, and you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. And Maritza Senor Perez's contact information is here too. And you can also reach out to her, especially with any questions about the Spanish pathway or about placement tests for Spanish, any of that stuff. I know she would be, I don't want to speak for her, but I'm sure she'd be happy to take any questions anyone
We'd
has.
be happy, yes.
Ah.
Thank you.
Okay, see.
Jonathan, there's something in, I think Chinese, is that a question or something
Nope,
else?
that just says that's a thank you.
Oh, okay. How do you say thank you? Shay Shay? No. is that-
谢谢。嗯，
谢谢. Thank you. Gracias. What else? Ni hao? No. That's hello. Huh?
Merci, merci beaucoup.
merci.
Thank you so much.
What is the time for the event on Thursday? Which event on Thursday?
You're-
Oh, it's
Open
the event
Oh, the
that
open
you
house.
invited us to at
Oh.
the high school.
Sorry?
I asked that question. The event that's at the high school on Thursday.
Oh, next Thursday, the open house is, anyone else have their head? I think it's 6,
5 to
5:30? I want to
yes.
say 5. I think it's 5.
I,
I
5 to 7. I think
I
it's
think
5.
it's 5 to 7. Oh, there, someone got it.
5:30.
5:30 to 7. We
Thank
got
you.
Yep, it's 5:30 to 7.
Okay.
Come meet the teachers.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really cool event. You know, our admin is really pulling out all the stops to make it as engaging and as interesting and giving everyone sort of a chance to see what's going on at the high school. New folks, returning folks who look interested in learning about classes for next year, all that stuff.
All right, well, if there's no more questions, we will give you back your evening. And oh, sorry, there's one right at the end. Mr. Fall, are you teaching Mandarin 3 next year?
It is always the big question. And I will tell you the same thing I tell all my students when they ask me, which is I can't say for sure yet. We have to see how the enrollment works out. Usually I teach Mandarin 3, but I can't say for certain until we know how the enrollment looks for next year and how sort of the Miss Lee and I, or the other Mandarin teacher, divvy up the classes. So we'll see. I can't say I don't want to make any promises.
So, Mr. Fall, can we sign a petition or something? Because I know the students now, they're looking forward for you next year. You gave a great foundation, and I know Miss Lee, she has her style, but I know they're looking forward to have you next year. So we'll sign a petition, we'll put something in front of your classroom. I don't know, we'll make it work.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I hope to teach Mandarin 3, but like I said, I you know, there are always, you know, I've made the mistake in the past of saying, yes, of course I'll be teaching this class next year, and then something happens and I don't end up teaching it, and then everyone feels disappointed. So I hope to be teaching the Mandarin 3 class next year, but I can't promise that that'll be happening.
All right, we'll return your evening to everyone. Have a good evening. Thank you for joining us. Let's keep our
Everyone.
world language going strong. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Buenas noches. Gracias.
Juan?
Bye.
Gracias. Thank you.